Hello and welcome to today's trading session where we're looking to trade the US Open. My name is Tim. I'm one of the traders here at the Live Trade Room, and we're about to trade the US Open fully live and interactive for you. For those of you that are interested in genuinely learning how to trade the financial markets with, I suppose, a high degree of knowledge and understanding and an ability to make consistent and disciplined trading decisions, do feel free to go to a website. We can certainly help you with, I suppose, getting a better understanding of these markets and being able to position yourself correctly, looking to stack the odds in your favor when you trade. Really look to fine tune and develop that trading edge. That's all important for traders, and you hear an awful lot about. So we've got a vast range of products and services available through our website. And you can contact us if you have any questions, all at very, very low prices as well. So that's there through our website. So over the next sort of hour, what we'll be doing is we'll be going through basically what you need in order to be able to look for high probability trading opportunities. So there's a bit of a process involved. We do have a live trade plan webinar every evening. So we're very much prepared in advance of the moves occurring. So when we get to our trading desks in the morning, we know exactly which markets we're looking at. We know at what prices we're wanting to engage. We know what direction we're looking to.
It's away from the bottom of the hour and the release of the US retail sales report for February. Headline retail sales month on month seen at minus 5%.
Okay, I'll come back to that in just a moment, but we do have a live squawk, so we get a lot of the updated news coming through to us live. So what we'd be looking for is these opportunities across some of the world's largest markets for foreign exchange, the commodities, and also the global indices as well. So let's get into it then. We'll start with our risk warning, if that's okay, and we'll see what opportunities are there for us this afternoon. So please see our risk warning currently up on screen. It's incumbent upon us to make sure that you are mindful of the risks involved in trading these financial markets at all times. It is a trade-off between risk and reward. For us, it's very important that we manage that risk and we don't let it get out of control. We don't take unnecessary, undue risks with our hard-earned capital. So it is more of a disciplined approach to trading markets. Hopefully, it's a coherent approach and it makes sense, and it's easy to identify some of the opportunities we look for, and we explain to you why we look for those types of opportunities. Okay, so before we begin, as always, we want to just be mindful of some of the news events. So we bring up Forex Factory. So just as a quick overview, really. So today is Tuesday, the 16th of March. So we had the governor of the central bank, Kuroda, speaking just earlier, a good few hours ago. So we'll see how that's impacted the yen. The yen was a significant focus for ourselves in last night's webinar. So we look at the yen in a little bit more detail, and really the only sort of significant news, and we're looking for the major news events, those in red. We've got retail sales figures due out, so we'll see how this event has been, and in fact that's due out now in about 8 minutes due to the time shift we've experienced in the US. So it's a bit erratic, as you can see, retail sales figures. We had a nice uptick in the previous month. We're expecting, a plus 0.2% figure this month. Retail sales, as far as one's core retail sales, the other one is retail sales. So we're expecting a little bit of bad news, but you can see that the more recent data figures coming out of the US have actually surprised or been marginally better than anticipated. So that's all good news for the indice markets. Hello Finbar, hope you're keeping well. Good to have you with us. So let's see what opportunities we have for you today then. So let's get up our trading platform. I'll slide this across. Okay, so last night we spoke in some detail about the bullish sentiment, fundamentals and technicals behind the equity markets. So they're still getting a bit of an uptick. So we'll start with the S&P. So there was some interesting sort of bearish price action there for sort of 3 weeks or so. Where we have seen the market make a high, and then it's quite messy, isn't it? It's a little bit up and down, but we've seen some structural failures to the downside, and we broke below the 50 period moving average. But we really failed to sort of really kick on to the downside, and what we've seen since is just a fairly linear bit of bullish price action off these lows down here. So we are at these highs. We're in this on the daily time frame, so there's an opportunity in here. We'll just see how this market plays out with the retail sales figures that are due out pretty soon, but we can do our analysis. We can get prepared for the opportunity. It's only grinding higher, isn't it? It's not. There's no sort of volume or volatility in this trade just yet, and we've been, apart from 15 minute of explosive price action to the upside. Was this last night? Yes. So apart from that very active bit of price action, we've actually been drifting sideways. It must be noted, of course, that we've got this slight bullish bias in this market. So we'll be looking very carefully around here. We'd expect continuation in this market. So we'll have a look at the S&P in quite some detail. The next market is the Nasdaq. Look at the 50 period moving average just above this level. So that is the 13194, and we're currently at the 13158 level. So will we see this market sort of run into a bit of resistance up at that level? We just need to be mindful of that. A break above it is a very good green light to the upside for the Nasdaq. The Dow Jones is just constantly sort of grinding these new highs all the time. We're looking for it above this level. We've only just seen a kind of a marginal increase. We're up here at the 32,970 level. So really, a break above that level would give us a decent opportunity higher. You can see half an hour ago we were looking like we were going to break to the upside, and it's now just rolling back over. So we're in this pretty tight range up at these all-time highs. So one major news event to keep in mind is the FOMC tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So any positioning you're doing between now and then, look at the FOMC tomorrow as a potential for market volatility and probably a little bit of erratic price action. So either mitigate risk, either book in profit, either cover the position and take profit off the table, and close out the trade, or let it run with kind of a minimal risk approach to it going into that news event. You don't want to be carrying, you don't want to be exposing capital going into a major news event. And there will be a significant focus on the dot plots. So the FOMC get together and they make decisions on future interest rate hikes, and they get an opportunity to vote. And it's called a dot plot. We'll have a look at it tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, really, in our live trade room in the evenings, or trade plan webinar. So really, it's about the US indice markets. We've got the FTSE earlier today threatening to push higher, but is kind of struggling at these levels, and something similar regarding the DAX. There's obviously concerns in Europe just regarding the rollout of the vaccines, the vaccine rollout, and the yen is kind of grinding higher. So we're not blown away with opportunity really, but we'll have a look at it in a little bit more detail. Bitcoin is just rolling off the highs. We were up there 3 days ago at nearly the 62,000 level, and now we're back at the 55,000 level. So that's still a significant decline. It's nothing on this chart, but you're talking sort of 12-14% fall off in this market, and that's really what trading Bitcoin's all about. So the exposure levels are quite high. So we're going to take a decent look at the indice markets. So let me put these back together. So up on screen is our trade plan from last night. We're looking at the indice markets to the upside, so we'll keep a close eye on this trade, just up at those highs. Same situation for the Nasdaq. Both have a little bit of work to do, and then our focus is really on the Japanese yen. So we were anticipating a risk on market conditions, so that's fine. We're looking for capital coming out of the indice markets, but we really haven't seen a follow through of that trade. We did have Kuroda speaking as well, and it's put a bit of strength back into the yen pairs, and you can see it across the board versus the euro yen, the pound yen, and the dollar yen. So we're actually looking for this market, looking for buying opportunities, and it doesn't look like we're going to get those opportunities in the yen, but we can continue to monitor them. So it looks like the focus is going to be the indice markets for the session. The dollar yen trade looks like it's just, this is on a daily time frame, so we're in a prolonged period, and I'm just looking at just what's happening. We've got the retail sales, so let's see. Oh, sorry, I muted the live feed here.
And Canadian international security transactions 1.27 billion.
Okay, so core retail sales, let's see what those figures are. Okay, so there's a significant miss there actually. So you can see how erratic these figures are. Yes, last month they were. There was a significant miss to the upside, and now this month now it's a significant miss to the downside. It's just showing you how the system is kind of, first of all, presenting the data, but it shows you how much disparity there is between trying to forecast and the actual figures being released as well. So similar situation last month, a significant uptick on the forecast, and this month relatively significant downtick. Now what's interesting is you may agree that is negative news, so that's not great for the equity markets. But look what the initial price action was. It was an explosive move to the upside. There was actually, you know, a nice little tick higher before the reality of the news event starts to kick in. So you start seeing this rollover price action. And the euro dollar has kind of hardly moved, because we're just watching that as well, just to see how that reacts to these events. So it's neither strengthening nor gaining, nor weakening. Sorry, should I say? The dollar yen. It's really not doing that much, and the retail sales figures could put a bit of a spanner in the spokes regarding the buy trade for the S&P 500. So and the Nasdaq. Right, brilliant. Okay, so our bias is clearly to the upside for the S&P. So we might see a little bit of short-term weakness across the US indice markets. We'll have a look at the pound yen, because this was selling off. So we'll see what this price action tells us about this market. So we can look at these momentum lows just down in here. We can see prices are pulled back to that level now. So there's an argument to suggest that we could get a little bit of a corrective move to the downside for the pound yen. This is not a bad level to look to get into. You'd need a decent sized stop loss for this. You're talking about sort of 55 pips or so. Let's see if we get the profit side to the trade as well. So we could trade it back to the 150 level. So it'd be a 2 to 1 winner, really. Let's just see how price action is just playing out just inside this zone. So a break below this level gives us a technical sell trade. And it would really be regarded as a more of a technical trade than a high quality sort of momentum based trade or anything like that. So clearly defined levels of support, clearly many times, until you get the breakthrough of that level to the downside, and then you're looking to see if prices pull back to that same level, and That now becomes resistance to the downside. So what we're anticipating is if we get this little bit of sideways moving price action and we get the rollover trade, we're looking at this 150-107 level, see if we can capitalize on a move back to the 150. So that's it's not really the trade we were planning, but it's the trade that we might be able to try and capitalize on. The same could be said for the euro yen, but it would have to actually push a bit lower and actually trade below yesterday's low, the 129.93, which is below the 130 level. We're only sort of 10-20 pips away from that being an opportunity to the downside, but worth keeping an eye on to the downside. And the equities are just squeezing lower again, so that would be mildly supportive of the yen strengthening or finding a little bit of short-term strength. By no means are we committing to these in even the medium-term perspective. It could be just a one-day trading opportunity. We wouldn't be looking to hold these types of trades. So that worse than expected retail sales numbers put a little bit of spanner in the spokes, really, because it just injects a little bit of sort of bearish type sentiment. There's a lot of talk about, uptick in, with the unfolding of the the lockdown conditions. there's a lot of excitement about spending and things like that, so that very well may prevail. So we're looking at it on a slightly higher time frame. So the overall picture is still looking phenomenally well, so this might just be a little bit of a short-term reversal off the highs. So let's just give it a little bit more time. So we were initially looking for that dollar yen trade above the 109.37. So 109 is a little bit higher than the level that we were looking at yesterday. 109.37. Right, yesterday we were looking at this market just breaking out below the 119.17 level, and we really failed to get anything constructive below that level. So the 1909, yesterday was the 1910, 1909. So we've got 3 day lows in there now. 1909. So we've got a dollar weakness trade. Sorry, we've got a dollar strength trade in the euro dollar to the downside below that 119.09. A dollar strength trade against the yen above 109.37. It just looks at the moment as if we might get a bit of a short-term pullback, which can give us that opportunity and especially if the equity markets are just, there's a little bit coming off them, we might get an opportunity to get into a yen strength trade either against the pound, maybe even against the yen, against the euro and the dollar. So we're having a look at these markets quite carefully. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep both options open for now regarding the dollar yen. In fact, it can be like that across these markets actually at the moment. So we're in with the pound yen here in the middle. We've got a strong bit of consolidation building now over the last couple of hours.
As for the comments from UK PM Johnson, no question China will pose a great challenge, but also work with China. We're consistent with values.
I don't know what that means really with China. So potential sell trade below 129.93. 129.93. Just explains the trading opportunity there for you. Let me just change the color because now we're looking for a selling opportunity. So potential sell trade. It's important to put below and above because we don't actually want to get in at that exact price. We want to get in if prices break above that level. So what we need to see is the confirmation that we look for when we trade of prices breaking below this level. Just a little bit more accurate there. So potential sell trade below 129.95, which is just this 1 and 2 day low. Yeah, it's the 151.07. So this is going to be our trade plan for the afternoon, it looks. No, excuse me. It's the 108.89. 108.89. Just turning it red, really, just to show we're looking for a sell trade. So we're looking for a breakout sell trade below the 1909 for the euro dollar. Potential sell trade in the dollar yen would be below this. So what we generally like to do, we can see that the euro yen is quite close to that level now, is we like to trade in the direction of the momentum for the day. So occasionally we get these little turnaround spikes, which is fine. It's the market's prerogative, but we generally want to go in the direction in which the bigger time frames are moving, and there's a bit of yen potential strength across all these three trades. So that's why we're looking for the yen to strengthen ever so mildly. They've been on a bit of a tear to the upside recently, and there's a bit of a corrective move, and we're looking to potentially get ourselves in on those. Just looking at the equity markets again. Not much of a constructive pullback really to any great extent. Right, just in the last sort of 15 minutes, we achieved the highest price ever in the S&P 500, 39.78 level. Potential buy trade. So we've been looking to buy this quite often. So we don't have an easy sort of pullback. The pullbacks are so shallow. you're just virtually continuing to buy the all-time highs, so it's not that straightforward. I'll just put that in there. And the reason why we're using the phrasing "we are looking for buying opportunities" is because we want to see like a floor be created, or we want to see sort of breakout with momentum. We're wanting to see something, and we're in this sort of phase at the moment where it's difficult to. We're just kind of, price action is really in the middle of nowhere at the moment. We're kind of quite close to recent highs, but not quite there. So that euro yen, we do like this below the 129.95 level, just there up on screen. We're just waiting really to see the pound yen, see if it rolls below the 151.07. At the moment, that doesn't look like it's the case. A potential sell trade below the 108.89 level. We'll see if we get any follow through in this trade, and then we'll just watch the euro dollar closely, really. See if we do get prices pushing below the 19.09. They've been threatening to break lower for the last couple of days and they've failed to do so. The pound yen looks like it's wanting to strengthen. So let's go into this in a little bit more detail then. So we've got that nice long run up, which is what you'd want to see, and prices are now breaking below that level. You can see on this that prices have really just been consolidating in this market. We're just breaking above that level now, so that's quite interesting. Let's look at it on just a bigger time frame. Just taking a pretty decent roll to the downside. This has been on a tear to the upside for quite some time. Right, so let's see if we get this closed below this level. So it looks like we're there now. Again, we've got a little bit of a sizable stop loss for this one, but it would be worth using the 130.36. So
3 minutes now to the top of the hour. Just a reminder on vaccine news, waiting to hear from the EU's EMA, as the executive director will be providing an update on the investigation on AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine. So we have posted a link onto board to watch the press conference live.
So this is a straightforward acceleration to the upside with momentum. Some indecision yesterday, followed by the little rollover trade, and we're now below that all-important 130 level. So it's probably the only market that we can potentially get into. It's the only one that's kind of giving us something to work with right now. So let's go ahead and get into this trade then. So we've got, we're just on a 5-minute chart. We can see prices are just breaking beneath this low. So we'll see the close now in a couple of minutes. We look to get into this trade below the low and with a stop loss. It would have to be back up here at the 130.36 level. So we'll just prepare to get into this trade. Okay. See, it's the close with this market that will give us a lot of information. So just looking at a potential sell trade in the Euro yen. We're going to get that closed now in just a second. So look, we're just watching the close now. They're just down at these lows, and we'll see. Okay, I'm just looking at this. So we've got the close now. So purely from a price action perspective, where you retrace 50% of this margin, it just gives an opportunity for buyers to start coming in and start buying it. It's not quite comfortable, or as comfortable as we would like. So now, step one is, do we get the close below the important level, the 129.95? The answer is yes. Now do we get the follow through with this candle? So we'll just give it an extra minute or two, see if we get that continuation. Yeah, so Finbar, it's we're getting the close. So we've technically got a close below that low, but it's not that comfortable. It's a 60% retracement. Look at it on the 1 minute, for example. So now we're seeing if we get follow through below that level, then there's your entry to the downside. You don't want to really give buyers an opportunity to actually do this to that trade, and that's what that pullback basically signifies. So if we get that flush lower, then we can absolutely get into it with just with a greater peace of mind. Really, that's the reality of it. So we can prepare this trade. So now we want the trade to just act as per expectation, and that's to get that flush lower. We've had a nice little run up, which again is what we'd like to see. We want to see prices break the important level and then show signs of continuation. So it looks like we're getting that continuation move, which is good. Okay, so we can get our deal ticket open. And we said the 130.40 level. 130.40 level is quite a large stop loss, but we probably need that level, and we'll get in and sell at that price there. So we're now in the Euro Yen to the downside. Sorry, let me just... Okay, so there's our entry just below that 129.94 level, and there's our stop loss just above this high in here. It's quite a significant move lower. So we're talking about a 50 pip stop loss. But the potential downside is a nice trade. It's not a fantastic trade, but it's a nice trade. We've been moving sideways for quite some time. We had a 2-day explosive move higher. We had some indecision yesterday, and now we're getting that reversal trade. So it's a...
10 minutes away now to the US industrial production numbers for February, with 3% expected versus prior.
It's a reversal trade.
In a range of minus 0.6% to 1.9%, while the capacity utilization number 75.5% expected versus the prior 75.6%, in a range of 74.8 seen to 76.2. And finally, from the US, the manufacturing production number for February, 0.2% expected versus prior 0.0, range of minus 0.8 to 0.8% seen.
Okay, so we're in this trade now. On the daily time frame, it looks good. So we'll see if we get some follow through in that one. Okay, so that's our first trade. Sorry, just bear with me a sec. I'm just doing something online quickly on a different screen.
So EMA saying the safety committee did review the blood clot issue with the AstraZeneca vaccine. European Medicines Agency saying it is ongoing investigation into the possible side effects, while the current situation is not unexpected.
That's a really good point. Actually, is the consolidation aspect to this trade to the downside.
From EMA saying the situation is not unexpected if vaccinating millions.
So we can look at this, and broadly speaking, we can largely say that market has been largely sideways moving until we've now got this little corrective little breakout trade, which is what we're trying to capitalize on. I appreciate we've broken lower before and reversed, so that very well may happen again. But when you look at the daily time frame, we kind of have this on our side now. So some further continuation. We got momentum to the downside. Let's see if there's enough conviction in this trade to actually see this market continue to roll over further to the downside. So we'll literally have to wait and see.
Further from the EMA, they're evaluating if there is a connection between incidents and the vaccine. They won't give the outcome of the evaluation today.
Very good question there, Finbar. So is it an intraday trade or a longer term trade? Definitely not a longer term trade. So intraday, we might sort of keep it overnight. It might be one of those where we get a little bit of action prior to the FOMC tomorrow. So maybe a sort of a swing trade, basically. So we might get into it today. We might hang on to it tonight, going into tomorrow, into lunchtime. It really depends what happens from here, but we'd like to think we could get at least...
Say the experts will be reaching their conclusion on Thursday for the AstraZeneca vaccine.
So we've had Kuroda speaking as well in the early hours, and it's, the markets are comfortable with the yen strengthening. So we just have that weight behind the trade, hopefully squeezing it lower, and we might get a day or two's momentum to the downside out of it. That's really what we're saying. The euro yen is likely to squeeze lower, probably run into a lot of these levels of support and resistance.
Industrial production numbers for February again, month-to-month, 0.3% expected with capacity right.
Okay, so what we're going to do there, guys, we'll wrap it up at that point. We're in the euro yen trade. We do like the potential, if some dollar strength continues, is looking for a breakout sell trade below that 1909 level. There might be a dollar sell trade, dollar yen sell trade below 108.89. It looks like we might get an opportunity as well in the pound yen, really, from this level. So do have a look at that level if you can. There's not a huge amount going on just yet with the indice markets, so they might be looking now towards the FOMC tomorrow. But there's a potential selling opportunity now if we get some continuation really below the 151.07. Currently we're just pulling back above that level, so there's a few here to keep an eye out for. And look, we'll let you go. Those are our trades. That's what we're looking to focus on, and let's see if we get some follow through in our euro yen trade. Great stuff. So on that note, thank you very much for joining us as always. Do feel free to go to our website, thelivetraderoom.com. If you are genuinely interested in learning how to trade the financial markets, you can join us through our other trade rooms and things like that. We've got a lot of products and services available for you, all at very, very affordable prices. So go to our website for more information on that, and we will be live again tomorrow at 12, don't forget. So if you can join us for that, that's fantastic. So for everyone here at Live Trade Room, thanks very much for joining us. Do take care, and we shall speak to you soon. Bye for now.